So, you probably think January is the off-season for your garden, right? A time to just kick back and recover. Well, I'm here to tell you to think again. January is, believe it or not, maybe the most strategic month of the whole year. We're going to dig into how a little bit of work right now is the secret to a spring garden that's not just productive, but seriously resilient.
So, I have to ask you, is your garden sleeping through its most important month? I mean, we all think of winter as this dormant, quiet time. But the truth? The things you do or don't do right now, that's what sets the stage for either a huge success or a big failure come springtime.
Okay, so why is January so critical? It really comes down to fighting one major enemy, bolting. You know what I'm talking about. It's when a plant gets stressed out, usually from a sudden blast of heat, and it just panics. It gives up on making tasty leaves and just rushes to produce seeds before it kicks the bucket. For stuff like lettuce, spinach, or broccoli, this is a total harvest killer. But, and this is the good news, we can totally outsmart it.
All right, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to talk about racing the thermal clock. Then, we'll dive into two awesome methods, the thermal bridge for indoors and winter sowing for outdoors. And we'll wrap up by talking about how to build a rock-solid foundation for the whole year.
Okay, let's jump right into part one, racing the thermal clock. And listen, this is about way more than just getting a head start. It's a survival strategy, plain and simple. It's about making sure your plants can handle whatever spring throws at them.
So here's the thing you gotta remember. Spring isn't always gentle. Nope, it usually slams the door open with these crazy temperature spikes. And for a lot of our favorite cool weather crops, think mustard greens, spinach, the minute that thermometer ticks past 75 degrees Fahrenheit, this little biological alarm goes off. It's basically a panic button that tells the plant, stop growing leaves, it's time to make seeds. Now,
And this quote, it just nails the solution perfectly. Think about it. A plant with shallow roots is like a tent with flimsy little stakes. And that windstorm? That's the heat wave that's bound to hit in late spring. If those roots aren't deep and strong, the whole thing just collapses. Starting in January, that's how we drive those stakes deep.
And we can actually put a number on this advantage. Get this, by starting something like head lettuce indoors in January, you're giving it a 45 to 60-day head start. That is huge. We're talking up to 2 full months of just focusing on root growth before it ever has to deal with the stress of the great outdoors. That is a massive edge in the race against that thermal clock.
Just look at the difference here. It's pretty stark, right? If you start late, in March or April, you get shallow roots, a super stressed plant, and yeah, it's probably going to bolt. But a January start, that gives you deep, robust roots that act like a buffer, a little safety net. The result is a plant that can handle stress and give you an amazing harvest.
All right, so how do we actually do this? That brings us to part 2, the indoor method we call the thermal bridge. This is all about engineering that perfect head start by moving your operation inside.
So, the thermal bridge. The name sounds fancy, but the idea is really simple. You're just creating a bridge to get your seedlings safely over all that wild, unpredictable winter weather. Indoors, you're in control. You can give those seeds the perfect, stable environment they need to get a strong start, something Mother Nature just isn't going to offer you in January.
But wait, I know what you're thinking. Can't I just stick them on a sunny windowsill? And hey, it seems totally logical, right? Find the sunniest window in the house, and boom, you're done. But, and this is a big but, a windowsill can be really deceptive. So here's why that windowsill just doesn't cut it. The light is weak, it's indirect, and the winter days are short. It forces your poor little seedlings to stretch for the light, and they get all weak and leggy. Grow lights, though, they're a game changer. They give you that direct, full-spectrum light that makes seedlings grow strong, stocky, and tough. Seriously, the difference in quality is night and day. So what should you actually start with this method? Well, think about the plants that take the longest to get going. They're your prime candidates. Onions and leeks, they need a good 10 to 12 weeks. Peppers need a solid 8 to 10. And all your brassicas, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, they absolutely love a 6 to 8 week head start indoors. Okay, but maybe you're thinking, I really don't want to set up a whole grow light station in my living room. And that's totally fair. No problem. That brings us to our third section, winter sowing. This is a brilliant, super low-tech, low-effort way to use nature as your own personal greenhouse. Winter sowing is it's awesome. You literally take a recycled container, like an old milk jug, and you turn it into a tiny little greenhouse. Then you just stick it outside and let it be. The snow and the rain take care of the watering, and here's the magic part. The seeds sprout at the absolute perfect time, whenever the conditions are just right for them. You don't have to guess at all.
This method works especially well for seeds that actually need a cold spell to wake up. It's a process called stratification. So it's perfect for things like hardy perennials, think coneflower, black-eyed Susans, and also for those really tough annuals like kale and spinach. When they finally do sprout, they're already hardened off and ready to go.
And getting it set up could not be easier. Step 1, prep your jug. Clean it out, cut it almost all the way around so you have a little hinge, and poke some drainage holes in the bottom. Step 2, fill it with about 3 inches of damp soil. Step 3, sow your seeds. Then you just tape it shut, take the cap off, and put it outside somewhere it'll get some sun and rain. That's it. Nature takes over from there.
All right, let's move on to our final section, building the foundation. Because a great January garden isn't just about planting seeds. It's about getting the whole system, the whole ecosystem ready for the year ahead.
And maybe the single most important thing you can do is focus on your soil. You have to feed your soil first. If you've got that heavy, acidic clay soil, which so many of us do, January is pretty much your last chance to add dolomitic limestone. See, that stuff takes months to break down and balance out the pH. Do it now, and all those nutrients will actually be available for your plants come spring.
January is also the perfect time for some long-term investments in your garden's future. You can plant dormant bare root fruit trees. They'll establish so much better. You can dig out those trenches for an asparagus bed that could feed you for like 15 years. You can even chit or pre-sprout your seed potatoes to get a jump on the season. And don't forget a good cleanup. Getting rid of old debris now means getting rid of hiding spots for pests like the Harlequin bug before they can become a real headache.
I love this final quote because it just brings everything together. Stop thinking of January as the off-season. It's the foundation pouring season. It's when you pour the concrete for your skyscraper. All those things, the soil amendments, the new root systems, they need time to cure and get strong. If you wait until the weather's perfect to get started, well, you're already behind schedule.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you know how important this month really is, what kind of foundation are you going to build in your garden this January? Thanks for diving into this with me.